Alex Eala's revenge on Aryna Sabalenka was brutal, and yes, the cameras caught everything. What started as a heated handshake months ago exploded into a full-blown rivalry that nobody saw coming. It wasn't just about winning a match, it was about pride, redemption, and proving that talent could silence power. When the two met again under the bright lights, every serve felt like a statement. Every point a message. But what unfolded that night went far beyond tennis. It became a lesson in emotion, control, and vengeance. Because for Alex Eala, this wasn't just a game, it was payback. It all began months ago, on a humid evening under the bright lights of Dubai. Alex Eala stepped onto the court with the same quiet focus that had carried her through junior titles and national glory. Across the net stood Aryna Sabalenka, fierce, powerful, and unapologetically confident. It wasn't just a match, it was a collision of worlds. Youth versus experience. Calm precision versus raw aggression. From the first serve, the energy was electric. Sabalenka's power tore through the air like thunder, while Eala's control and court sense answered back with poise. For a while, it felt balanced, until Sabalenka began playing her psychological game. Between points, she smirked. She celebrated loudly, maybe too loudly. And when Eala missed an easy return, Sabalenka's glare across the net said it all. You don't belong here. By the second set, frustration began to seep in. Every shot Eala played seemed to echo with the weight of expectation. The crowd cheered for the big names, not the rising star still finding her place. Cameras zoomed in on her eyes, focused but breaking. Sabalenka knew how to use that. She laughed after winners, shouted after aces, and walked around the baseline with the dominance of someone who'd already written the ending. Then came the moment that changed everything. Eala fought through 3 deuces, defending with sheer will. But Sabalenka, in her usual fearless style, ended it with a crushing forehand winner down the line. The crowd erupted. Eala stood frozen, her racket loose in her hand. As they approached for the handshake, the tension was thick enough to taste. Sabalenka leaned in, whispered something only the microphones half caught, something that sounded like, "Welcome to the big leagues, kid." And then came the smile, that smug, dismissive smirk that millions would replay online for days. Eala forced a smile back, but her eyes told a different story. Behind that calm expression burned humiliation, frustration, and something even deeper. A quiet promise. Back in the locker room, Eala avoided the cameras. She sat in silence, towel over her head, while her phone buzzed endlessly. Clips of the handshake had gone viral. Fans dissected every frame. Some defended her composure, others mocked her silence. Sabalenka showed her who's boss. One comment read. Another replied, "Give the girl time. You'll see." That night, Eala scrolled through it all. Every tweet, every highlight, every jab at her inexperience. She didn't cry. She didn't lash out. She simply watched. Over and over again, because something inside her had shifted. That defeat didn't crush her. It carved her. It etched a goal so clear that even sleep couldn't blur it. She began to replay each point in her mind, not as mistakes but as blueprints. Every missed shot became a lesson. Every smirk from Sabalenka became fuel. Over the next few days, she vanished from public sight. No interviews. No training videos. No statements. But those close to her noticed the change. Her workouts grew longer, her rallies sharper. She stopped posting motivational quotes and started living them. Revenge, one of her coaches whispered, watching her from across the court. That's what's driving her now. And he was right, because from that night on, every drop of sweat, every repetition, every bruise on her palm, all of it had one name written on it. Sabalenka. The cameras didn't know it yet. The fans didn't see it coming. But the next time Alex Eala would step onto the court with Aryna Sabalenka, it wouldn't be as a rising star. It would be as a storm. After that night in Dubai, Alex Eala disappeared, not from tennis, but from noise. No interviews, no press conferences, no social media updates, just silence. But inside that silence, something powerful was building. They said revenge is best served cold. Eala preferred it earned. While the rest of the tennis world moved on, she went underground, figuratively and literally. Her training base shifted to Mallorca, where days bled into nights and routine became obsession. 6-hour sessions turned into 8. Matches against practice partners turned into battles. Coaches said they'd never seen her like this before, ruthless, focused, unshakable. Her team called it the rebuild, but Eala called it unfinished business. Every morning started before sunrise. She'd stand by the baseline, eyes closed, replaying that handshake in her mind, that smirk from Sabalenka, that whisper that said, "You're not ready." It wasn't anger that pushed her. It was purpose. She didn't want to destroy Sabalenka. She wanted to surpass her. The transformation wasn't just physical, it was mental. She studied Sabalenka's patterns, the rhythm of her serves, her breathing before a forehand, the way she disguised drop shots. Eala didn't just prepare to play her again, she prepared to understand her. Every time she missed a shot in practice, she whispered to herself, "Next time." Her coach once tried to stop her after 5 hours on court. Eala simply looked up and said, "She trains longer." He didn't argue again. The sports world began to notice her absence. Fans wondered where she'd gone. Rumors spread. She's injured. She's burned out. She's lost confidence. But those who'd seen her in training knew better. The fire was there. It was just hidden, waiting for the right moment to erupt. Then, one afternoon, a clip surfaced online. A short training video leaked by a teammate. Eala hitting serves at full power, each one echoing like thunder in the empty indoor court. The caption simply read, "She's coming back stronger." Within hours, it went viral. Comments flooded in, "She looks different. Her focus is unreal. Is this about Sabalenka?" Eala never confirmed it. She didn't need to. The eyes told the story. Sharper, colder, more deliberate. Her team noticed the transformation too. The girl who once questioned her own timing now demanded perfection. The one who used to smile through pressure now stared through it. When her coach asked if she was ready to return to the tour, she said one thing: "Find me her bracket." And fate did exactly that. Weeks later, the WTA draw for the Madrid Open dropped. Eala and Sabalenka, same section. If they both advanced, a quarter-final clash was inevitable. The internet exploded. Sports media called it the revenge run. Headlines read, "Can Eala redeem herself against the Titan?" Eala didn't react. She didn't post, didn't comment, just trained. But behind the calm exterior, her pulse quickened. She knew this was it. The path had looped back, the script writing itself. The same woman who once humiliated her would now face the version of Eala she never saw coming. In the locker room before her first match, she looked into the mirror and said quietly, this time, no fear. Every swing that week carried purpose. Every win was a step closer to the inevitable collision. Reporters asked her about the rivalry, about the handshake, about the whispers. Eala smiled politely and replied, "I'm not thinking about the past. I'm thinking about what's next." But everyone knew the truth. What was next was her past. And it was about to catch fire. The cameras would soon see it. The fans would soon feel it. And when Eala finally stood across the net from Sabalenka again, the storm she'd been building for months was ready to break. The air inside the Madrid arena was heavy, that kind of silence that lives between anticipation and chaos. Fans filled every seat, phones out, hearts racing. The match everyone had been waiting for was finally here. Alex Eala versus Aryna Sabalenka. Revenge versus reputation? Calm precision against pure power. From the first step onto the court, you could feel the difference. Eala didn't smile, didn't wave. Her eyes locked straight across the net, unblinking, unreadable. Sabalenka, on the other hand, walked in like a storm, chest high, racket tapping rhythmically on her thigh. She gave a quick smirk, the same one from Dubai, like she still owned the moment. But this time, the moment didn't belong to her. The first serve of the match echoed like a gunshot. Sabalenka opened with aggression, slamming aces and shouting after every point. But Eala didn't flinch. She moved like water, calm, fluid, adapting. Each rally turned into a battle of wills. Then came the stare. After one of the longest points of the first set, 23 shots of relentless precision, Eala finished it with a laser forehand down the line. The crowd erupted. And for the first time, she didn't just turn away. She looked right at Sabalenka, cold, steady, silent. That look alone said everything. "I'm not the same girl from Dubai." Cameras zoomed in immediately. The clip spread across Twitter in minutes. Eala just gave Sabalenka the death stare, one post read. Another said, "That's the look of revenge." The match escalated. Sabalenka tried to overpower her, but Eala kept absorbing the hits and sending them back with precision. It was chess disguised as tennis. Sabalenka shouted, clenched her fist, tried to rattle her opponent, but Ayala's calm became her armor. Midway through the second set, something extraordinary happened. Sabalenka, frustrated after losing back-to-back points, slammed her racket into the clay. The crowd gasped. Eala didn't react. She simply walked to the baseline, bounced the ball 3 times, and fired an ace down the middle, her fastest serve of the tournament. The stadium exploded. Sabalenka stared in disbelief. Eala didn't celebrate. She just nodded, once as if saying that one was for Dubai. The cameras caught every second, the glare, the composure, the message. Broadcasters replayed the moment in slow motion, calling it the turning point. By the time the final set began, the tension had reached its peak. Every rally felt personal, every point like a conversation between rivals who spoke only in shots. At 5 feet 4 inches, with Sabalenka serving to stay in the match, Eala broke her serve with a blistering backhand winner that painted the line. The chair umpire called, "Game, set, match, Eala." The crowd went wild. Eala fell to her knees, not in disbelief but in release. Months of silence, training, and humiliation had all led here. As they walked to the net, Sabalenka hesitated. This time, there was no smirk, no whisper, just quiet acknowledgement. Eala extended her hand, firm, calm, almost regal. Sabalenka took it. Cameras flashed from every angle, and then, just as they released hands, Eala whispered, barely audible but caught by the sideline mic, "Welcome back to mine." The internet exploded within minutes. Clips titled Eala's cold revenge moment flooded every platform. Fans debated what she meant. Analysts called it poetic justice. But for those who had followed the journey, the meaning was clear. This was not arrogance. It was closure. Eala didn't scream. She didn't gloat. She walked off the court with the quiet satisfaction of someone who didn't need validation. Because this time, the cameras didn't capture defeat, they captured redemption. And the story wasn't over yet. Because when revenge plays out on a global stage, the world always has something to say next. Within minutes of the final handshake, the world went into overdrive. Every angle of that match, every stare, every whisper, every breath, was already uploaded, dissected, and debated by millions. The phrase "Eala's revenge" began trending worldwide within the hour. Clips of her icy stare flooded Twitter and TikTok, slowed down and captioned with words like cold, fearless, and queen energy. Others looped the final handshake, zooming in on the exact second she said, "Welcome back to mine." Nobody even agreed on what she meant, but that didn't matter. It became a moment bigger than the match itself. Sports outlets exploded. ESPN called it a rivalry reborn. Tennis Channel labeled it the rise of a new mental titan. Even players chimed in. Coco Gauff tweeted, "She's not a kid anymore," while Ans Jabeur posted a simple fire emoji. But not everyone was cheering. Sabalenka's fans fired back immediately. They accused Eala of arrogance, of mocking a champion. One headline from a Belarusian outlet read, "Disrespect or dominance. Eala crosses the line." And just like that, the narrative split in half. For every fan calling her a hero, another called her cold. For every post praising her composure, another accused her of revenge gone too far. But through it all, Eala stayed silent. She didn't post.